Right. Good evening. My name is Dele Ayimibo, and you're on to another edition of Import-Export platform brought to you by 3T Impes Trade Academy. I'm sorry I'm coming late this evening. I supposed to have come in by 6, but the traffic of Lagos will not allow that to happen. And I still deem it fit for this to happen tonight, so we decided to have another session tonight. I started discussing export incentive for Nigerian businesses, part 1 in the morning, and now we're having part 2. Wale Adegboyega, thank you very much for joining. Good evening and welcome. So we talked about that in the morning. Basically what we're trying to do is to let people know the reason why export is a business worthy of consideration, considering the benefits and incentives and all the opportunities that are available, not just from government, even from outside. So in the morning we talked about AGOA. AGOA is African Growth and Opportunity Act, and that was discussed in the morning. But this evening we're going to move on from AGOA to ETLS. ETLS, ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. That's another scheme, but in the morning we looked at a unilateral agreement or a unilateral law of the United States in favor of sub-Saharan Africa, that's AGOA. But this evening we are looking at a multilateral agreement. It's a multilateral agreement among the 15 countries in the West African region, that's ECOWAS, that's the Economic Community of West African States. They came together to do ETLS, and then so we'll be discussing ETLS this evening. Remember, we're looking at export business incentive, so the export incentive rather for Nigerian businesses, both the one government did themselves or the one that was given to us as opportunity, like the one of the United States. ETLS is a tool, and it's used to achieve what is called the free trade area. You know, when economies come together in the world to have what is called the economic integration, there are different levels in the economic integration. We have the free trade area, we have the custom union, we have the common market, we have the economic union, and we have the political union. So, Olushola Omole, thank you very much for joining. Good evening and welcome. So, free trade area, custom union, common market, economic union, and of course political union. So in that order, and they all have different characteristics. So the free trade area basically allow that the internal tariff are eliminated. Internal tariff are eliminated in free trade area. But in custom union, internal tariff alone is not just eliminated. There's always also a common external tariff. Then for common market, one common market happen, you have the internal tariff removed, you have the common external tariff installed, then you have free movement of people and capital, free movement of labor and capital. Then when you get to the level of economic union, then you are now having universal or common economic policy, in addition to all other things that you enjoy under the common market. And for political union, you are literally having this young government. We really do not have that in the world yet. Commonwealth is the closest, but we don't have real political union in the world yet. Olushola Omole, Miki Ogbaisi, thank you very much for joining. Good evening. So this arrangement is supposed to be for free trade area. And that's the ETLS is to achieve a free trade area. Like I said, free trade area helps you to be able to have elimination of internal tariff among the members. So it's a tool, and this tool is composed of rule of origin, another element of procedure that enable the member state to benefit from it. It contains rule of origin. Now, what rule of origin basically does is to ensure that if we say we are declaring a free trade area in a particular place, rule of origin does not. If we say we are declaring a free trade area in a particular place, rule of origin does not allow. Someone who is a third state, a state outside those parties, to be able to ship good in and enjoy that free trade, tariff-free shipment. That's not allowed. So the way to prevent it from happening is to do what is called rule of origin. And I'll be talking about rule of origin later on. Rule of origin. So rule of origin ensure that does not happen. So it confers rule of origin another procedure that enable member states to benefit from it. The preferential tariff within ECOWAS result in elimination of custom duties for originating products, and this make the custom consumer to have access to cheaper goods. So one of the result of the ETLS is elimination of tariff, custom duties within the member state. That's the removal of the internal tariff. Like I said, in free trade area, there's no internal tariff. Removal of internal tariff, and this make consumer to achieve, to be selling rather, cheaper goods. So the idea is, the goods are cheaper, but the objective is, if I buy goods from you and you buy goods from me, and we continue like that for a long time, that will increase our growth. Why? Because then I will be able to sell more, I'll create more job in my country, you'll be able to sell more, you create more job in your country. So it's a symbiotic relationship. Helping member states to specialize in certain goods where they have a comparative advantage. So a lot of items or goods were allowed under this, so everybody can specialize. You that can produce this, you specialize what you produce in, other people specialize what you produce in. So at the end of the day, everybody specializes in a particular area based on their advantage, and at the end of the day, that area of specialization enables rather them to grow their economy because of the ready market to buy. And then for me, I wouldn't want to import item if I'm buying this product. For example, let's say a West African country is producing phone. If it's producing phone and they can ship it to Nigeria duty free, why will I buy similar phone from someone shipping it from outside the West Africa? Because if you ship it to Nigeria duty free, most likely I'll be able to buy at a cheaper rate than bringing it from other people who will pay duty to bring it into Nigeria. It results in expansion of trade between 15 member states. Like I said, 15 member states, and there's expansion of trading between them. Stopping trade diversion, which consists with the reduction of imports from countries non-member of ECOWAS and its substitution by import from another ECOWAS member. So it stops trade diversion. Why should we be importing from in countries who are not member of ECOWAS when we could have imported the item from ECOWAS? So instead of allowing the food to be diverted, that is reduced or stopped, such that at the end of the day, we now import from people producing similar product among the member states, because it's better for us actually. Strengthening ECOWAS industrial sector to be more efficient and strong enough to trade at the international level. So at the end of the day, some member of ECOWAS are able to start to trade, and then they can grow and begin to trade not just in ECOWAS, in other parts of the world. Now, the preferential tariff within ECOWAS will result in strengthening ECOWAS economy on the basis of creation of a strong tax reform within the region. So this is expected to increase or strengthen ECOWAS countries' economy. Increase in our production capacity within the region will affect production capacity of the region and development of value chain, leading to increased exports. The quality and quantity of local production will increase due to demand, and there will be increased employment. And all this I talked about in the series I finished, which is on the why you need to join the export team. Why you need to join the export team. So the beauty is that if you increase production capacity in the ECOWAS, you are going to increase development in the region, because everybody in the value chain for different items will begin to wake up to the reality of doing it, because there's now demand. Then, of course, the quality and quantity of production will increase, and of course, that increase can actually result in employment generation. Now, apart from the fact that ETLS have free trade area, it has another feature called the common external tariff, which is a feature peculiar to custom union. The common external tariff is one of the major advantages of ETLS, because the higher the external tariff are, the higher the preferential margin, and the higher the incentive for trade deflection. Common external tariff basically says, the idea of common external tariff says that if there are 15 members in ECOWAS, if, let's assume this item, this water, is being imported into ECOWAS region. If we have a common external tariff, if a Ghanaian is importing this thing, if a Cameroonian is importing this thing, if a Gambian is importing this thing, and Nigeria is importing this thing, they should, whoever is importing it should pay the same duty. That means for a particular item, the duty among the member states, anybody bringing it in, the duty is the same. Common external tariff. We are saying for anybody external to this relationship, anything they want to bring into this group, this is the duty we are going to charge. So common external tariff basically ensure that someone does not import at a cheaper rate at the expense of the other, and the good eventually find its way into the other member state. So they are usually common external tariff are usually done to discourage countries not a member in any trade agreement to have access to that market. They will increase the duty they will pay. So anybody bringing in stuff from external to the agreement will be paying a lot. Will be paying a lot. Will be paying a lot. Why? He will be paying a lot because they want to discourage that from happening. Now, let me talk a little bit also about the rule of origin we'll talk about later on, before. For example, in ECOWAS, one of the rule of origin says that any product that will be deemed to be a product of ECOWAS member state must have 60% raw material from the ECOWAS region. So if I want to produce this item, the raw material I'm using to produce this, 60% must be from ECOWAS member. That is, if I can't source that raw material myself, 60% raw material must be from ECOWAS member. If I can't source it myself. Now the implication of that is that anybody that wants to bring anything into ECOWAS region has produced it from somewhere else. Because I produce it from somewhere else, that good does not qualify to be sold in ECOWAS as originating product of ECOWAS. As originating product of ECOWAS. Because the raw material for that product was from outside the ECOWAS. So if that product is going to come into ECOWAS region, anywhere it goes, it will be the same duty. Courtesy, common external tariffs. Sorry. Anywhere it goes, it must be the same duty. Courtesy, common external tariff. Anywhere it goes, it must be the same duty. Courtesy, common external tariff. Why? That's the agreement that was signed. Now, the second rule of origin in ECOWAS says that if I bring in any product and I added value that causes a substantial change in the type of product, such that the tariff heading has changed. By tariff heading, we mean the HS code, the first 4 digits of the HS code. We have a tariff heading within that. If it has changed, such that the product is now different. For example, I'm bringing in concentrate. And that concentrate was converted into juice. The HS code of concentrate is different from juice. A concentrate is more like chemical. But juice is like beverages. So HS code of beverage is different from chemical. So that is substantial change in the nature and most likely the tariff heading. The first 4 digits of that HS code. HS code is harmonized system of code. That's the ID number of products. Every product in the world have ID number. Every product in the world has ID number. And that's like the ID number of the code. So what's interesting about this is that the ID number, first 4 digits of that ID number has to change. Has to change. For it to be deemed to be from member state. So that's called the change in tariff heading. The third criteria for rule of origin in ECOWAS is that If I bring in a product and I added value to it, an addition of value of 30% of the X works. So this product before in the warehouse cost $100. By the time that product received value addition in West Africa, such that the price now is $130, that product will be deemed to be originating from West Africa. Not because it's actually originated from West Africa, but because of a value addition that increased the value of the product from $100 per unit to $130 per unit. So you can see I'm trying to explain the rule of origin under ETLS. Rule of origin under ETLS. And one of the very pivotal benefit of all this is that it prevents an external factor, more like China coming in to sell in your region. We have the African Continental Free Trade Agreement for Africa to sign, of which 52 countries have signed, 3 countries left, and Nigeria is part of the 3 countries. We have not signed. We have not signed. And for me, it's a very painful one. I hope the president will sign. I hope the president, now that politics is over, I hope the president will sign. Because there are a lot of politics around that, and some of them might not be too good for him because of politics and second term. But now that second term has finished, I think Nigeria should sign the AFCFTA. Why should Nigeria sign AFCFTA? Nigeria is the largest market. Nigeria is not just the largest market. Nigeria might become eventually the largest beneficiary, just the way we have done in ECOWAS. ECOWAS today, Nigerian shipment to ECOWAS is less than 6 to 7% every year. But you know what? Nigerian shipment to ECOWAS, even though it was low, it still constitutes 44% of ECOWAS trading within ECOWAS, intra-ECOWAS trade. It still contribute about 44% or 46%. Even though in terms of Nigerian exports, about 5, 6 or 7%, between 5 and 7%. Now, what this is basically saying is that with rule of origin, we can prevent people. So LFCFTA, which is the fear many people have that Nigeria is the target, a lot of people bring stuff, everybody comes to Nigeria, everybody bring their goods into Nigeria. That is not true. That is not true. That is not true. These people we are talking about, their major export item are minerals, crude, machinery, raw materials. And we are afraid of them. And we've not signed the FCFTA. Different sentiment. Ade Omole, thank you very much for joining. Good evening. Chibuzo Ugochukwu, thank you very much for joining. Good evening. You're welcome. So in summary, ETLS is important for regional integration. ETLS protects our economic operators. ETLS strengthens intra-regional trade. ETLS is the warranty of an economic union. A strong ETLS will gather and enable more than 350 million citizens within the region to trade with them. To trade with them. To trade with them. To trade with them. And this is very important. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. To trade with them. Very important. Because we have such a population in West Africa alone, and we're not leveraging on that population. 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 Even though about 200 of the 350 is Nigeria, so we have about 150 million people market. All right, so I will be closing now. It's just for us to be able to ensure we have tonight's episode like planned. What I've discussed tonight is on the basket of incentive. That's the export incentive for Nigerian businesses. Export incentive for Nigerian businesses. In the morning we discussed AGOA, and this evening we are talking about ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, otherwise called the ETLS. And for you to benefit, you must be a business in the region, and you must have a product from the region. Business in the region, originating business and originating product. So you really must ensure that these two are present for you to go ahead. Now, let me talk about application before I close. Just remember about application. For you to apply for ETLS, you go through the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because you cannot go ETLS without a certificate that verifies the product. So every product has a certificate, and it's called certificate of origin, and each of the product certificate of origin, and every product has that certificate. That certificate from Nigeria, that's Nigerian government, we give your product duty-free access in the ECOWAS market. If you don't have that product, so that certificate, for the product you are shipping, you can still ship with Africa, but you won't enjoy duty-free. But you enjoy duty-free when you ship, and at the end of the day, there is no stress in moving the good across the West African region, simply because you don't have the ETLS certificate of origin. Certificate will be issued by Ministry of Foreign Affairs, coordinated by National Action Committee, who meet, I think, once in a quarter. Now they meet once in 2 months, and people advocate they should meet once in a month, and they will come and inspect the warehouse to be sure that everything you claim is valid and correct. And on the strength of that, they will issue the certificate, and the certificate will eventually be issued certificate to the exporter, and the exporter will be able to use the certificate to be able to ship the good within the West African sub-region. All right, thank you very much for tonight. My name remains Dele Ayimibo, and tomorrow we'll continue the discussion on export intensive for businesses, Nigerian businesses, and tomorrow we'll be looking at part 3. Part 3, and we then move a little bit faster and talk about other incentive. The two incentives I've talked about, one is unilateral from the US, one is multilateral. But there are other incentives that government, deliberate action and act of Nigerian government to be able to encourage export. And that's what we'll be discussing tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening, and have a very good evening. Bye for now.